I would compare people who are obsessed with a brand similar to those who follow a cult leader. They're willing to give up a huge part of their paycheck for a cause that's kind of overlooked. All the red flags are there. They just don't see it until it's too late. And in this particular case, it became a huge inconvenience for others. Just not that person in particular, but it was an inconvenience. Moonshot was discovered in the early 80s and quickly became an international brand name. But it started as a small little shop in New York City. The owners decided to franchise it and quickly spread across the country and eventually up into Canada.
In all honesty, the coffee itself actually doesn't taste all that great. It has a bitter taste to it. What the appeal is to the consumer was the logo. It was both fun and gave you a sense of status as you walked around the streets with it.
I have been full-time with the company for about a year, and it ceases to amaze me how the same people come in every day, and our products are pretty pricey. Even with my discount, I wouldn't be able to afford the amount these people do.
We set at 5:30 a.m., open up at 6, and this one woman comes in at 6:30 a.m. on the dot, daily. She already has a moonshot drink in her hand from another location, finishes it, and then orders from us. Like every time she leaves, I want to run after her asking her if she's hiring because I'm clearly not working in the right business.
I worked as a barista for Moonshots for 3 years, and I had my fair share of strange customer encounters. But nothing compares to when people would come in and order drinks off of the secret menu.
The idea of the menu being secret is actually an urban myth. It was never even officially made by the company.
Believe it or not, the secret menu was created by this Advent moonshot drinker that believed the company should create these very specific drinks. We must have received dozens of emails. We responded by saying, well, we don't take anything unsolicited.
That didn't stop him. He found a way to grab the bigwigs of Moonshot's attention, basically by becoming a foodie specifically for this company.
He would use our cups, then he would make his own drinks at home, then he would promote them as though saying these are the new drinks Moonshots were making. There'd be such things as an upside-down Americano, which was just a normal Americano, but instead of pouring the espresso shots first, you would pour the hot water in first. It was simple enough to make, it was just difficult to measure properly, since pouring the espresso shots first helped to show how much water was needed to fill the cup up.
Instead of having it cease and desist, the higher-ups just shrugged their shoulders and let it continue, which I wish it didn't.
There are already 300 drinks that employees have to memorize. And then out of nowhere, people come in asking for these drinks we've never even heard of. And then customers get mad because we don't know what they're talking about.
More absurd drinks would follow, but then this guy decides to take it further and creates this online platform.
Well, the site is not dissimilar to Wikipedia in the sense that anyone can add, change, or do whatever they want, really. So a lot of moonshot drinkers jumped on the bandwagon and continually added non-existent drinks.
Sometimes we would get a real random one, like a dry cappuccino. What it is a cup just filled with milk foam. Customers would pay the same amount as a normal cappuccino for something that doesn't even have an actual drink in the cup.
There was even an option where people could choose the specific degree of heat their drink was served in, which is funny because I'm pretty sure that none of these people could tell the difference. But nothing was more ridiculous than the Moonbeam Shake.
The Moonbeam Shake was a smoothie that you had to kind of make without any knowledge of a specific recipe. Every location would have a different way of making it. The customers were just as inconsistent. Some left happy, and some left angry.
I was becoming a little concerned for our baristas because there would be more drinks added to this website, and you could tell they're getting stressed because I kept on getting messages asking for the site to be taken down.
The only problem is that corporate loved how much money they were making off this, so they did jack shit. When one location decided to go against the menu, customers went nuts. They sent in all the complaints, so a few days later, they were forced to start making the drinks the customers wanted again, regardless if they were real drinks or not.
At that point, they should have just swapped menus, because barely anyone was coming in for the drinks that were actually on the menu.
Once the weeks went on and more drinks started populating the site, Rebecca Gibson and I decided to take a field trip. Go to the locations, talk to the managers, and see how they felt about the whole situation.
All of it was negative feedback. Many of them compared it to the equivalent of walking into a pizza place and ordering a double bacon cheeseburger with no pickles. Just because you have all the ingredients doesn't mean you should be forced to make it.
And just when I thought things couldn't get any worse, someone decided to add this crazy promotion on the website that if you bought a Moonbeam, you would get a hot drink half off.
When a promo like this usually occurs, we have stock to help us make sure we have everything, but this was done so fast that we didn't have time for our stock to be replenished.
Once I saw the promotion, I immediately went up to the higher ups and said, you can't expect our employees to be taking on this work from individuals who have nothing to do with the company. I was told, don't forget who you work for. You don't make decisions, we do, and we will let this happen.
It's a little sad and funny. Here's DB, who's been head of marketing and research for 15 years, and out of the blue he's being told what to do by some brand whore and his army of internet trolls.
It's the day of the bogus drink deal. The store hasn't even opened yet, and people are already starting to line up.
We never had this many people show up for our actual regular promotions. It was pretty wild. It felt like a Black Friday in the mall.
Every location is a hands-on-deck type situation, but once we opened, it was like a zoo, and nobody was prepared for it.
We were only 2.5 hours in, and our supplies were already dwindling down to nothing, and there was no end in sight for that lineup. Our manager couldn't even get a hold of our suppliers, so she called head office, and they told her to go to a grocery store and get whatever she could. She came back with $1,000 of ingredients, but even that wasn't enough.
Normally, we would all have our specific stations, but because of the chaos that was occurring, I was pulled in numerous directions, which just led to one disaster after another.
If we were prepared, sure, it wouldn't have been a problem. But again, these aren't our drinks.
Well, out of curiosity, I decided to go to one of the locations and see how it was playing out. I couldn't even get to the entrance. I mean, the line was around the building. Pretty sure I saw some baristas just walk out.
Oh yes, some of us walked out. I was one of them. We officially just ran out of everything to make the Moonbeam. And instead of these customers going to another location, they just screamed at us over the counter. I remember thinking, if these caffeine addicts would go this crazy over a smoothie and coffee, I don't want to be part of this establishment. So I took off my apron, handed it to my manager, and made my way through the angry crowd. Before I left, I turned and said, people, it's just coffee. It's not a car. It's not a diamond ring. It's just fucking coffee.
The company itself was really hit hard with negative feedback. Many customers said the same thing about how unprepared locations were and how could the shops run out of everything so quickly, which we all knew was inevitable.
Somehow the fallback was on me. As in, I was supposed to propose a different date for the promotion. Or I was supposed to help out the locations more. Well, I knew there was no point arguing with the higher-ups. So, I took my cues from the barista, and I walked out myself.
I didn't have the luxury of quitting. I was fired. Apparently, I didn't handle everything the way someone from HR should have. I should have showed them the concerns from employees, which I did, but they were too focused on all the money that the secret menu was bringing in, it fell on deaf ears. So now I'm taking them to court for wrongful dismissal.
I stayed a few weeks after the promotion ended, but after I found out Moonshots was going to allow the secret menu to continue, I decided to take my leave.
There has been a tremendous amount of turnover with employees because of the secret menu. Yet, it's like the owners don't really seem to care, or they refuse to see that there is a problem.
The thing that puzzles me with this whole ridiculous story is, what was the agenda of this kid? I mean, he barely had a social media presence with barely any followers, yet he found a way of wrapping this multi-billion-dollar company around his little finger. Did he do it for shits and giggles? Did he do it because he hated moonshine and kind of wanted to make them all look like idiots? Or did he do it because he wanted to be part of something special? I don't know. I don't know that we'll ever know.